Before I go on, I want to bring up some people up here. I want to bring up a congressman Heck really cares about his community. He put out, he's really busy, but he sent a representative. Stephen, would you come up here and tell us a little bit about, and I know you have a certificate in middle school.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Very good. Well, my name is Stephen. I'm a representative for Congressman Joe Heck, and I wish he could be here today. And on his behalf, I have a certificate for the Learning Village and everything the Congressman represents, and the organizations like this that help keep the community going. Because at times it could suck and get hard, but you just got to keep your chin up and stay positive. So thanks for having me today, and I appreciate everything you guys do for the world and the community.
Thank you so much. So we're going to get right to it. Everybody ready to dive in? Say yes. Yeah. Good job. So anyways, with a show of hands, who wants to be successful in here? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. If you want to be successful, look around. All of you want to be successful. Isn't that unbelievable? And you guys go, oh, I disagree with everything. You guys just agreed on something. Well, to have all this
Get a
stuff.
shot with you, Learning Village.
Here we go. Takes education.
Maybe Elena.
And this is what you're here for today. Education. We'll get you a job, and we'll get you what? Money. Everybody say money. Yeah. It's a good thing. Well, success, money buys what? Homes and cars. Who wants to buy a home here? Raise your hand. Look around. Everybody wants to. So what is, and some people don't want to, that's all right, but you want a roof over your head, right? Good. And when you look around, so then who wants to buy a car here? Raise your hand. Good. See, you have more in common than you think, which is really sharp, huh? So what we're going to do today is remember we have stories, right? We have relatable stories, and they're just stories. Remember that. It can always change. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is bring up, oh wait, I got another, I get to do that thing, I get to do that thing I do.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Okay. Do you guys trust me?
Yeah.
Wow, I like this already. So do me a favor, close your eyes, please. Close your eyes, please. No one's going to hurt you. You're in a safe place. Okay? So I'm going to ask a question. With a show of hands, raise your hands. Who wants to be loved in here? Raise your hand. Be honest. Raise your hand who wants to be loved in here. Raise them high so I can count. I'm counting people. I'm counting. All right, raise your hands now. Open up your eyes. Keep your hands up and look around. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? So guess what? We all want to be loved, so guess what we need to do is love others too, right? So yeah, there you go, preacher, right? So without further ado, I'm going to bring up a very important man who's been an inspiration in my life and give me the chance to be in front of you guys. Look at you guys all waiting, huh? He's been in this town for a long time. I'm going to let him tell his story because he has a story. The incomparable, inspirational Mr. Tiger Todd.
You forgot fictional. God, I am so impressed, so pleased to see you here. Really, we're gonna have some fun today. I'm not gonna give you my story at any kind of length because it's not about my story today. It's actually helping you guys write a story, like a movie. Write a movie that gets you to the promised land, that gets you to the end of a movie the way you want it to turn out. So if you're here, typically people who come to Hero School are either starting their second movie. Let's say your first one was Star Wars. Right, you find out you have some built-in superpower. You've got some way with the Force, some Obi-Wan Kenobi character shows you how to, use a lightsaber and trust your feelings. And then you defeat the evil empire and everything's great. And then a second movie happens in your life. Maybe you're dating, maybe not. My second wife left me. Oh, we won't talk about that anyway. But anyway, so here, maybe your second movie, right, is you start off, you get some extra training or something, but you think that your skills are going to get you all the way through. And by the end of this movie, the Empire strikes back. Right? You get your butt kicked. You find out your dad's the villain. You've been kissing your sister. Princess Leia, in case you didn't know, was Luke Skywalker's sister. You find out that she's now in the arms of Jabba the Hutt, right? Because he had more money, maybe he was good at poker. I don't know what it was. And then you lose your hand. You start to, I don't know how you feel, but if you've ever got an injury where you all of a sudden felt limited, and it tended to mentally limit you, more than just the disability, it made you feel like you could do less in the world. So if this is true, you've had a good movie, then you have this Empire Strikes Back movie. Today, what I want to do is help you write Return of the Jedi. I want to show you a few more things, maybe complete the education that you started, but didn't go the distance. You picked up the skills, but you didn't let it manifest in all of your molecules. So basically, we're going to lay out in a movie structure today a super fast form of education that we call it hero school. We call it hero school. So you guys have seen a bunch of movies, right? No one's seen any movies? Okay, great. Because this morning, we have about an hour and a half, which is typically most movies are 90 minutes to 2 hours, right? And I'm gonna pause while you pass these out. Can you stop on the passing for a minute while I finish this? Thank you. Thank you. Funny how I can't do two things at once, so I don't know how you guys are. You'll be able to take some notes. We're going to give you some handouts throughout the day, but these are accelerated strategies. They're accelerated strategies I picked up before I retired from my business. I had 3,000 customers that I realized if they're coming into my store to bring tens of thousands of dollars to me, they might know something I don't know. So I started to learn these strategies. Then, however, I found them in each movie. Because in each movie, they have to do 3 things in 90 minutes to 2 hours. Number one, they have to relate to us. They have to give us a relatable character. Now, we don't have to like them. We can even be in disagreement, like Briggs and Murtaugh in Lethal Weapon. Right? It might be a relatable character like Mel Gibson's character in Payback. Right? We start out realizing he's a criminal, and yet we root for him because, gosh, who else hasn't been stabbed in the back by someone that they care about? Right? Right? So number one, relatable character. Second thing, though, that they put in these movies, they write them in, is conflict. They purposely put conflict in the movie. So you know what I'm going to do in my next 2 hours so we can accomplish the impossible? I'm going to push some buttons. I'm going to create some conflict. Kevin, can you turn me down a bit? I'm going to create some conflict. Why? Because conflict is the only way to do the third thing, which is accomplish something you couldn't accomplish otherwise. Every movie, 3 things: relatable character, conflict, and or obstacles. And then they accomplish the impossible. Now, each character in a film goes through 2 journeys. One of them is a journey of want. I'm going to ask you right now, what do you want? What do you want? Who knows what they really want? Show, give me a hand. Raise your hand. Okay, back row, what do you want? What do you want? You have to ask him what you want? Okay, all right. What do you want? What do you want?
I want a prominent lifestyle.
Prominent lifestyle. Okay, that's unachievable. That movie won't work. Why? Because it's not tangible. Right? What I want is I want a car, and it's a Ford, and it's a Focus, and it's a 2014. Got it? That is a vague. You can't build a movie about that. That's a dream. Okay? So they have to have a want. They have to have a want. If it's a lawyer film, he wants to work at this particular law firm. Doesn't just want a job, right? He wants to be a lawyer working at this firm. You understand it? And these are wants. Has a need. Now the want is something we declare on the outside, right? You go to Starbucks. What do you want? Well, I want a cup of coffee. Right? You go to Strippendale. You get, I want some chicken fingers. Right? That's a want outside. The need is different. The need is different because every character in the film, think of any movie you've ever watched. Every character in the film knows exactly what they want, have to. What they don't know is what they need. Well, they think they do. And what I'm thinking is, in the real world, we're the same way. Right? To get down to it, you know what you want. Now, you might not say what you want because you've been through so much crap. I ask you what you want, you give me what you think you deserve. What you think you can still have this late in the game. To which I'll cough like Zeus on Top Gun. Excuse me. Right? Because this is hero school. This is where we expect to get what we want. So stop lowering your own bar. But as far as what you need, this is where you have to be a little honest and recognize, you know what, you might think you need this, but you probably don't know what you need. There's few characters, I haven't found a single character in the film that really didn't know what they needed. The need was revealed through the journey to accomplish the want. So let's suppose you started school and you want to be an engineer, but you ended 2 years early to go back and help mom. So here you are, half an engineer. How much do they pay you to be half an engineer? They don't even pay you half. It's not right. Right? Half an engineer, half a lawyer won't get it done. Right? So we have to complete the journey. And I just believe this so much from the movies that if we are able to complete the journey, we'll find out exactly what we need, and at the end, we'll have both. So I'm going to show you these strategies in the movies. Movies you probably already know, and hopefully they'll start to erase some of the things that you think that you learned that aren't actually true. That aren't actually true. So again, I'll go fast, but I did promise to give you some of my backstory, so I'll give you my biography right now, but I'll do it in under a minute. So be patient. Ready? So my name is Tiger Todd. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, actually in this very neighborhood. I moved away to high school in Washington State. I was pretty good at math and physics. I was football by trade. I was scholarship. Played football. I worked a lot about jobs, people from education, so I managed a restaurant, managed a golf course, and became an opera singer for a short period of time. So I graduate school, and I started electronics business. I moved back to Las Vegas, retired in 1995, started getting the homeless people up there. Out of the park in Washington, and set an unofficial world record getting homeless people off the streets, 9,213. So I started this curriculum called Hero School about the movies, and started talking to kids in school to prevent them from becoming homeless. And I like long walks on the beach, very man alone, I'm a Pisces. Thank you. Thank you very much. But in the middle of all the and if you're like me, now I don't know ladies, I know men better than ladies. But I know me, I hate to pay for the same thing twice. When I pay for something once, I expect it to last forever. I expect it to always be there when I need it. I know it's a stupid expectation, but that's how I am. Right? It's like the parent with two teenagers, and they come home and they notice that the horizontal blinds they just bought 2 months ago are now all because the teenager, when they heard a car out front, thought their friends were out there. Instead of following the instructions to open them carefully, they just went, "What is that?" Right? And so anger from parent, right? Maybe taken out on child. Why? Why? Because we have this expectation that, look, I bought these things once. Shouldn't have to do it again. And yet this afternoon, we're going to give you a new definition for money that'll explain exactly why we feel this way. Why? Because it took a day of that parent's life to buy those blinds. And it'll take another day they have to exchange doing something they might not like to do to replace it. Another day they can't spend with that child. That's why the anger isn't over blinds, it's over something much deeper. But we're going to have to get smarter, people. We're going to have to get smarter, reverse engineer some of these blinds. Some of these ones. All right, so let's test your movie knowledge. Let me do a quote quiz to start. Quote quiz from all kinds of quotes. Can anyone give me, right off the bat, a quote that means something to you? Something that you can quote, rehearse, you know who said it, that speaks something to you. Don't quote like a movie like Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. Go ahead, I will shock you. Right? I am the Lord. Okay, sorry. What else? What do you got? Yes, sir.
Self-improvement, masturbation, self-destruction, Fight Club.
From Fight Club. All right, it's still a quote. Nice work. All right, all right. Fine, I'm going to look up those words. I meet you, simple island. Quote quiz earns a buck if it's a good one. There you go, sir. I'll be back. Oh, that really speaks to you. I'll be back. Half the people don't want you. Okay, yes, go ahead. The Fifth Element. Is there a quote from that? Except that when he asks Lulu her name, and it's a blah, 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 he goes, oh, short. We do. Yes, I need the divine language in order to get paid. Yes.
Say hello to a local friend.
All right, everyone, imitate it right now. Come on, do it. Say it. Some of you guys have real skills. Some of you guys suck. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Hebrews 11:1.
Hebrews 11:1. Yep.
Faith assuring himself for uncertain cannot.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So that means that faith is a blueprint for things that have not occurred as of yet. Huh. Yeah, it's pretty darn good. You definitely deserve your throat, so that's what's up. Nice work, nice work. I'm going to ask you one. I'm going to ask you for one. Maybe it's a more expensive quiz. For my final $2. I used to be rich. My final $2. I'm going to ask you this one. Who said, where was the source of this quote? The rich get richer and the poor get poor. Okay, first, hold that. Have you heard that before? Okay, who believes it's true? Rich get richer, poor get poor. Yeah, look around, right? All right, who was the first person to say it? Yeah, right, because remember, right, if you're going to share something, you're going to try to talk her into something, she's going to ask you, who taught you that? Where did you hear that? Right? George Bush, okay? All right, who else? That's not it. Jesus. Why would Jesus say something like the rich get richer and the poor get poor? Really? That's just cray-cray. And in fact, it was Jesus who said it. Jesus said, to him that has, shall more be given. To him that has not, from him shall be taken even that which he has. And once you understand that, just like you understand that faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? When you understand that with great power comes great responsibility, some of the other quotes from movies, right? When you understand that there are only two places in the universe that naturally exist, rich and poor, you just decide which one you want to be. So who chooses rich? All right, great. So because it's so much better than having even the crap we have taken from us. Okay. So who won that?
We're going to go with the last.
Who did? You and. Okay, there you go. Congratulations. Yes, now. Congratulations. Now, we're not going to go with the Bible, but let me give you a very interesting fact. Very interesting fact. When I retired and started helping homeless people, quote-unquote homeless people, I didn't know anything about quote-unquote homeless people. But I've got to tell you my story. So it's 1995 in Ethel Pearson Park, right here downtown Las Vegas. And I'm just a rich, I'm one of those CEOs that retires, so I'm quote-unquote rich bastard. And I'm the one funding this charity that's helping the homeless. They invite me out to see what the homeless are doing. And there are 1,854 of them lined up around the park and out into the city. Get this, surrounded by 36 churches. Yeah. I just started, I was blown away, right? It's your first time, right? You end up at Mandalay Bay, you say, what are 4 people there with badges that say engineer on them? Right? What are you doing here? Right? You're going to ask, right? So I started to ask, and I found out some amazing things. Number one, I found out they were human. Human. I don't know if you've seen any homeless people around, but a lot of people treat them like pets or wild children. Yeah, weird. But humans, and we've got to talk about humans today because I'm convinced that most, humans today have forgotten what it means literally to be human. What really does separate us from the animal kingdom? And I think when you do that, some people said opposable thumbs, what do you say? Emotions? Sure, yeah. I don't know. My cat whines at night. I don't know. It's pretty emotional. Okay. What else? Okay, let's just go through this right now. Empathy. Okay, sure. Yeah. Conscience, okay.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love separates animals from humans, right? Because animals can do what humans can't. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, because by the way, interesting, who said, so you have your Bible verse, and you have your Bible verse. Pause. Pause. I don't have my remote. It's not working. Take some batteries. Interesting that while people, you've heard of unconditional love? Yes. Who's ever read the Bible? Did you know that it's not in there? Everything in that book has a condition. When I walked into the park, I was raised in North Las Vegas. I wasn't raised religious. So I read this book, and sure enough, if you're willing and obedient, only then will you be good in life. If you love me, you keep my commandments. You not keep my commandments? It's just a fascinating thing that everything has a condition, more like the real world. Now, we can love someone unconditionally, but that's a decision. But there's no such thing as the adjective in front of love that's unconditional. No such thing. But we can love as an adverb, unconditional. Interesting, huh? But who actually works that out? Right? And so, certainly the people who are divorced in America don't believe in that. Right? Right? You have a question? Should we make this a question answer? Go ahead, sure.
Okay. Well then, what is your definition of agape?
Agape. Oh, it's a giving love, but it's a decision to give from the Greek. Agape, it's giving. Right? There are all kinds of different types of love, but that's one where you just choose to give. You choose not to give up on somebody. Right? There's something, so here I was at the park, I just want to give you this information. It's astounding to me. It's astounding because it's showing a root issue with us as, if you will, human beings, to forgotten in this maybe last century what it really means to be human. If we don't know what that means, we'll lose the access to the power to do the things that help us break free from being treated like animals. I was at a school. I do a bunch of schools around the country, and I had this. I walked up to this school. It's probably one of my first lessons on human behavior. I walked up to this school, and there's this pack of guys hanging out with each other. Now, first of all, there was a pack of guys hanging out with each other talking about girls, which I thought was weird because if you say you like girls, why are you hanging out with guys? It's weird. But anyway, in business, right? In business, your behavior has to be in line with your goals. Right now, if you like guys, hang out with guys. Right? But if you like girls, doesn't it make sense to hang out with girls and not just do like we do in high school and go up to them and say, yo, baby, I got skills and do all the talking, but maybe learn about women from, oh, I don't know, women? Anyway, so, but anyway, I was, when I got to this school, these kids, one of them peeled off from the group and he walked over to me. And I'm just going to be the speaker to talk about entrepreneurship, careers. So he walks over to me, but he doesn't, he doesn't walk over, he's got that walk. You know that walk? That walk, right? Right? So he's got that walk, and he gets over to him and he kind of leans in and he says, yo, what up, dog? And I thought, my God, I'm too late, they've already become dogs. Then I heard a group of women singing her pigs. We call them sheep. Right? Jackass the movie. And I started to really, really study this divide between what it means human and animal. And so here's what I discovered. If I'm going to ask you, let's say we're talking the school example, why we send human children to school, maybe the best illustration to understand the difference between humans and animals. Here's why we go to school. You guys remember school?
Yeah.
Did anyone have a great teacher in like elementary school, junior high? You did? You remember the name? Shout it out. Mine was Mr. Stotts, 4th grade. C.C. Rono Elementary School, Northwestern. All right, so here it is. Here's the deal. Let's say you're in 3rd grade. They give you a teacher, don't they, right? Right? They give you an expert in 3rd grade, and then they go through this process. And they teach you 3rd grade, 3rd grade, 3rd grade, 3rd grade. If you get too good for 3rd grade, you change into 4th grade. And so you move into 4th grade, and they give you a different teacher. And so they teach you 4th grade, 4th grade, 4th grade. You're too good for 4th. You change it to 5th grade, right? Now, well, when you're a dude and you change from 3rd to 4th to 5th, and then you still got these 3rd graders in school, you know how you are. You know you're different, right? Because you walk up to now the 3rd graders and you pump them, right? You do that kind of thing, right? But here's the interesting point. We send human children to school to change. The reason I was picking on Otis is because he's very general about a career. And we might be general to say, well, I'm here to learn, I'm here to get an education, as if education comes in a box. And literally, if you do that, you're going to miss where your powers are as a human. That what happens when we send a child to school and we give them a qualified expert, we give them some sort of instruction, and then they practice the instruction, is that the human changes into something they weren't before. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So this happens right with college, right? So you go to a college or university, they teach you engineering. You do the homework, you get too good, you become a engineer. You learn accounting, you change into learn law, you become a learn plumbing, become a yeah. So the most fascinating thing that I understood, the difference in animals and humans, is that humans become what they learn. Now you don't have to believe it or agree with it right now, but just say it out loud. We become what we learn. Just say it all flamboyant like I just did. We become what we learn. So actually, I was on video. This is about 8 years ago. I did a program. I did Hero School at Catholic Charities for like 8 years. And some film crews were in there. And there was this rumor in the program that I was gay. Don't have a problem with being gay or otherwise, but it really distracts when the people come in the classroom. My arm, motions are very animated, whatever it is that they picked up on that they thought attributed to some sort of lifestyle. And so I'd always have to diffuse this. So, there's always a tape playing in someone's head, right? And so, sure enough, there was this film crew came in for the news to do some special on me or whatever like that. I remember watching the video and I watched my arms fill and I started like, oh, I am gay. So I separate this as our core power. Because if you learn engineering, right, there's a process, a formula. But if you learn engineering, only a human can be transformed into an engineer. Into someone else that now sees the world that way, that can produce stuff in the engineering world, and they can get paid for that anytime. Right? If right now someone comes in with 5 checks for 5 engineers, $80,000 a year contracts, only those who have changed engineers get paid, right? So if you want to get paid, then change into the engineer, right? To me, it's so empowering. And you say, well, that's not the difference between animals. Well, come on, if you set a horse in the tree. And if we taught that horse engineering. At the end of 4 years, we just get, right? Animals don't have this power. I call it a superpower. Super means above, greater than the animal kingdom. When we talk about movies today, we're going to talk about superhero movies versus just regular movies. Regular movies might all have those 3 components, but hero movies are super. They're special because they correlate to what's special in us that few people today activate. Few people. All right, so let's test your movie knowledge. Now, ideally, who's seen The Shawshank Redemption?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I hear some emotion comes from that, doesn't it? Right? Now, oddly, it was a tough year the day that when The Shawshank Redemption came out. Why it did not win Best Picture was because Forrest Gump came out the same year. Right? So did Clear and Present Danger. Harrison Ford, what a fantastic movie, right? Not a great movie. But here's the story. Now, let's lay this as a template for Hero School for us today. The template is this. It's the story of a guy here, Andy Dufresne, who's thrown into prison for something he didn't do. Relatable character? How many guys have ever been accused and did some time for something you didn't do? Paid a price. No, no. He's in Shawshank, and we're struggling. We have this inner conflict ourselves watching it because he's not even defending himself. Right? He was actually the victim, right? It was his wife who was murdered, remember? Okay. So he's in this prison, and he's suffering for 2 hours, and we're suffering watching him. And then, like 10 minutes left in the film, he has the audacity, the arrogance to tell Red, look, you either get busy living, or get busy dying. All the people say, it's like a BS detector, right? When someone tells something that they didn't do. Right, we've got a detector, we just know they're not walking the talk, they're not practicing what they preach. And so here he's saying this. And I am like saying, like, oh, like you've been getting busy living for 16 years in prison. But 5 minutes later in the film, in just 5 minutes, we notice that Andy Dufresne is the only prisoner of Shawshank who's not in his cell. And then we find out what it truly means by the movie. We have defined what get busy living means. And if you recall from the movie, he'd asked for a little jeweler's hammer his first day in, and we only learn at the end that every single day he used that itty-bitty hammer to chip away at the wall, the barrier that separated him from the life he wanted to live. So if I ask you something today and I say, are you living? Are you going to get busy living? And you say yes, then that means for me a formula. You're going to get the biggest hammer you can. You're going to attach it to the wall. You're going to add it to the wall, and every little day, a little bit every day, until one day you're on the other side in the world, in the life you want. Who remembers what his dream was? What was his goal? What was his destination goal? You remember Andy Dufresne?
Stay out the hail. Say what the hail.
Yes, it was being on that beach in Mexico with the boat, right? A whole boat business in Mexico, right? So when I'm asking you what you want, right? I have owning a charter boat business in Mexico. Now, if you just say I just want a job, not me. Right? No one invests, $500 million to shoot a movie to get you a job. Can you imagine paying $12 at the Palms, Brendan Theaters, in 3D IMAX to watch some guy get a job after 2 hours? Man, we've been shooting people. That'd make the movie, right? Because we got conflicts, right? Man, no, the movies are only made because the thing is impossible. And most of us just shoot for what's doable, and then it's not big enough to drive us. Not big enough to get us up in the morning. To keep getting us up in the morning. To keep our word tomorrow because we don't think it's going to pan out. So you either get busy living or get busy dying, but then I watched this film, Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is the story of a hockey player. Oh, check that. in 4 concentration camps. And only later changed into the eminent psychologist Viktor Frankl, revealing to the world his psychological model on how he did it. How did he survive when 6 million other people just of his culture perished? And the best line to me from Man's Search for Meaning is this. He said, live today as if living already for the second time, and you're about to act as wrongly as you did the first. So what if we face today or even tomorrow as if it's going to repeat, right? Well, has history ever repeated for you? Have you ever ended up with a new job or a new relationship and got to that same place where the same thing happened? Yeah. So if you know that this tendency dogs a human being, but we have the courage now to beat it, doesn't it make sense that this advice is like gold? Live today as if living already for the second time and you're about to act as wrongly as you did the first. That means when you're about to do the same old thing you did before because the day looks just like it did yesterday, then maybe step back, stop, and say, ooh, I know how this approach turns out. And rather than just repeat history, maybe there's a way I can bypass this and get to the promised land. Maybe history a little more here, but I'll keep looking every day to do something a little differently than I did. So let's run through some movies at the speed round and see if there's something we can learn here from movies about Transformers. Have you seen them? Yeah. I know it's the distance. We don't have PowerPoint today. Movies about cars. Movies about roller coasters. Yeah. Interesting enough. Remember those? All these youth teen killer films. Ones where someone dies. In the Final Destination series, the death is like hunting people down. But it's very interesting because the people who get killed by death are the ones who didn't listen to the people who said, don't go there, death is hunting you down. Learn something from these films. All right. We have movies about pirates, movies about gladiators, movies about love. Oh, everybody. Oh. All right, now a lot of people are into facts. They're into that's not true. I'm into facts. Yes. Did anyone see Titanic who was unaware of the history? How many knew that the Titanic was going to sink? How many knew that that boat went to the bottom? Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And yet, it still brought in over $1 billion because the facts were not as important as the relatable character, the conflict and obstacles, and how some people overcame it. Are you with me? So if you start sharing somebody, what's the fact that there's it's a tough job market, it's a fact I've got 3 felonies, it's a fact, well, excuse me, that's very outside, not human. Even in the midst of our latest recession, the Dark Knight brought in $1.2 billion. Let me get this straight. We have the highest unemployment we've ever had. We're in a recession everywhere. The top 3 automakers, 2 of them are getting bailed out by the government from your tax money. And yet, the people who are struggling decided to exchange $10 to watch a 3-hour movie instead of buy 2 gallons of milk for their families. Instead of buy socks for themselves, better underwear. Weird, isn't that interesting? And while we are on the outside saying, what's what I need this, I need a bus pass, need some cash, need some... Oh, no. Clearly, the world has spoken that what we truly need are some answers for the inside. And we get them because of this formula on the inside. I'm just saying, what if you guys decided today, instead of just being movie watchers, you decided to be movie authors? What if you decided to write the next movie instead of just go be entertained by somebody else's movie? Or be an extra in somebody else's film? Right. Yeah, right. Thank you. Give me my voiceover. Right? Right. In stereo, we're available. So So let's think about this. In the movies, right, we already know you're already a step closer to author because you understand the three things. What are the three things in every movie? Relatable character, conflict, accomplish the impossible. Right on, right on. So we're already on the other side of this. Okay, so now we can see a little deeper into the movies on Titanic and why it spoke to us, even though it was a film theoretically about love, right? There are new movies about love. Anyone see Her? Anyone see Sheep? Movies about love. Who saw Love Actually? It's pretty fascinating. If you ever go back to watch these little vignettes on love, they're very well done, but what's really astounding is first-time actors that got their major start in this film, including Keira Knightley and others. And then finally, movies about love. Who likes Adam Sandler films? Anybody? Okay, all right. So we also have movies about prize fighters, right? Movies about street fighters. By the way, which is funny to me, I was doing a presentation. Yeah, hockey players. I was doing a presentation for some teens at a gym full. Talk about these inner things that really drive us, right? Where a human is. And UFC 91 had just come out. So you guys familiar with UFC? UFC? Ultimate Fighting Championships. UFC 91 had just concluded. And I just announced to the kids who love money. I said, did you know they brought in over $4.5 million last night in ticket sales? To which everyone went crazy because everyone wants the money. And I said, yeah, but the pay-per-view. How much money came through people ordering it on pay-per-view was $441 million. Nearly $500 million. And then I shifted over to the bullies in my big gym full of kids, and I said, some kids are so stupid, they still fight for free. That's why I never take a kid seriously or even an adult when they say, I do that, I'm getting paid. And I said, well, plenty of stuff you're doing that you're paying for. That's not getting you where you want to go. Right? But if we're going to build a new movie, right, doesn't it make sense that we want to take every asset we have, every dollar we earn, everything we can scrounge out to invest it and make this film work? Right? So we can't be messing around fighting for free. It's really funny watching these bullies say, I'm doing it, because now they're embarrassed. The rest of the school is going to see if they pick on something they don't get paid. But there's something else we learn from the movies. We learn, and in real life, that no one ever gets paid to play a sport or be a professional athlete who can't listen to a coach. I mean, when I walk into a hero school, whether I'm doing businesses that pay me a fortune, or you guys that are paying me, okay, and wherever I go, Frisk and Kim, when you see him come up, Frisk and find out how much you guys know. I tell this because the morning classes I'm trying to deliver a template. It's not. You don't have to believe it. I'm delivering what I know. This is what I practice. And I used to have these classes where the people just wanted to argue with every little word. So I had to come up with this like Miranda. I said, look, everyone, you guys all know something I don't know. It's true, right? Emerson said, everyone is my superior in something. Think about that. Every one of you knows something that the other one doesn't know. You're good at something that the other one sucks at, right? That I suck at, right? And in my class, I would say, I did author this. I did author the path of psychology that's based on. Just let me be the teacher. And then I look at the one that was being really mouthy, and I said, because if you try to tell me something in my class that you say can abuse against you, I need to leave you. So we don't get paid without this formula, learning from a teacher or coach. So every time I do a class like this, and I see people who, of their own volition, have chosen to do this, to actually come to, say, an expert in a category, to go right on this complex in the Learning Village. We have Larson training centers, to go in and take a class to learn something that you didn't know before, to overcome a barrier that's been a barrier. My God, that's got to be the greatest thing that moves my heart. I know half the people are just being moved by puppies and cats playing together on Facebook. But what moves me is when someone says, look, right, I'm trying to bring 1995 man into the upcoming 2015, and that character is not enough. Character must change. Character must change. Character must change. So as we move through the movies, we actually find that this becomes the phrase. So obviously, we've seen movies about hockey players, and who wanted to be a dentist? Movies about cops and Boy Scouts. I love clear and present danger. In fact, we're going to use that later for when we talk about money and the 7 steps to the job you want this afternoon's strategy session. Obviously, cops. The other guys, did you see this?
Yeah.
You ever laugh so hard you blow out snot bubbles? Okay, sorry. 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street. Too much fun. Movies about family. How do you guys like family? I think family was the devil. Okay, all right, that's just me. I'm sorry. Sorry, okay. Movies about family, right? It says family is forever. You better hope not. By the way, interesting. I worked for years with foster care communities. And I go to these group homes, well, guess what? In Nevada, it stinks. 71% of foster care youth became homeless. I was able to work and get that down to 5% just because they didn't know to learn from their teachers. They only hang out and the lost boys learning from each other. Simple. And yet, now imagine this, in America, it's a national number, 70%. And yet, 25 prime ministers of Europe were orphans. So get this, if you're an orphan in Europe, you'll more than likely be the head of state. Right. If you're an orphan in America, you're more than likely going to be in trouble. What's the difference? Yeah. Do you see? So do you see? Look at the things we blame. You say, "Well, I didn't have a good family." Oh, come on! You haven't met someone who had a good family that went the wrong way, right? Right? Back our facts up. And you're right. It's an education, but more than that, it's a historical. I mean, if we watch Harry Potter, we get an idea that here's an orphan again in the movies. He understands that at 12 years old, he's going off to learn from the teachers at Hogwarts because that's the limit of what his family could do anyway. It's why Jesus ditched his parents at age 12. Right? Because there's only so much. If you want to become, if your desire is to become quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, please. Right? If you're 16, moms can't help you. You might love moms, but she can't get you there. She's got to put you on a team with a coach. Unfortunately, in America, we put our kids in the cul-de-sac with each other. We put them in a room with a video game and no expert. No Dumbledore, no Miyagi, no Uncle Ben Parker. No one teaching us with great power comes great responsibility. And in Europe, that is the culture. Ooh, right. So let's get through our movies of family. Family, you can see this. Oh, I love this one. By the way, when we talk about getting a job, if you haven't seen Step Brothers, go by yourself, okay? Just a tip from me to you. Oh, gosh, who saw Expendables 3? Oh, yeah. 2? Thank God for movies about senior citizens. Fantastic. Does my heart good. Movies about homeless people. So getting back to that line, I'm walking this line in 1995 of 1,854 homeless people. And I'm asking them, where are you from? What are you doing here? Etc. And you know, here's what I found out. Not one of them was from Las Vegas. Now, is this a clue? Do you think this would be a clue that nationwide we should talk about? Yeah. Right? We blame it on them maybe being veterans or being orphans or being, no. Not one of them from my hometown, where I'm the retired business owner doing something about it. Pretty interesting. Yeah. Now, does it make sense when we talk about unfinished business? Happy Gilmore repeated history because he changed everything but the character he brought onto the team. And I found that these people had simply changed cities. We change jobs when things get tough instead of change our character, we change lives. I've seen you do it. But this is how we see the world. If something's got to change, we don't think like a movie. In the movie, the character undergoes the change. The character separates from family, separates from friends, and then finds a Mr. Miyagi, an Uncle Ben Parker, some sort of Edna Mode in The Incredibles, and learns from that person until they master the Force, they master their anger, they master the thing that's been tripping them up. It's a fascinating truth that I haven't been able to find, put holes in. So when I told you about Hancock homeless, he had no experts. He had all these superpowers. And like I said, everyone has a superior superpower, not just the ability to change, but again, you are good at stuff that I suck at. And yet, in order for that to work, to get you paid, to get you not just paid, but to get you to live the life that you know is in there, it's a formula. You got to plug it in somewhere. And it's not just going to take this additional character like the expert. We might call him a mentor. Experts are just usually smarter. They know exactly what you need. They're not just generalists. But more than that, it's knowing when to say yes, when to say no, and when live today as if living already for the second time. Having the courage and maybe the fortitude to say no when every molecule in you is trying to get you to fall right back in the same trap. This is what we're going to have to take some of the strengths. So I learned a lot about the homeless. Got 9,213 of them off the street, about 93% actually, because there were over 10,000 people that interfered. There were only 13 left. They were at a big table, they were playing dominoes, and they were trying to get me to tell the city to put a bathroom in for them. Anyway, here was my surprise, ladies and gentlemen. I found 4 things that every single homeless person had learned to turn them into that kind of person. They changed when I taught them the 4 opposite things. Now, imagine you're me. All right, who wants to pretend they're me for this little vignette? Who's going to pretend they're me? Here she comes, Tigress Todd. Come on up. Come on up. And bring your chair.
Oh, now you're pushing.
Oh, now I'm pushing.
Oh, yes. I'm second.
All right, so do you think we see the world the same way, any of us? In some things, obviously, we would, right? If you're an artist, you might see the world more artistically than someone who's an engineer, right? Right? If someone's who's worked in food service, right? Do you tend to notice things that have to do with food when you're seeing the world around food? You're judging the dishes you have, right? Right? So we see the world differently based on individual thinking, individual culture, individual training, and also things that many of us have also learned. So now, we might, right now, the 2 of us in the real world, see the world very differently, the 2 of us. Okay, Tigress will be her superhero name.
And I'm a double
There she is.
How good is that?
Danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah.
Danger. Danger. Okay, so, but if we're going to play fictional characters, where I'm the homeless guy, she's come in here as seeing the world through my eyes, here are her qualifications. She's an entrepreneur who founded her own business right out of college that she paid for herself. She lived alone since age 11 because her dad was busy working and finding his next girlfriends. So she sees the world that way. She also owned a chain of stereo electronic stores to which she watched the same portion of about 1,000 movies 500 times.
That's what
She walks into a park and she finds need there. Do you think that influences what she reads from me being on the street or being in a park line?
Yeah.
Being homeless? Absolutely, right? If she came in as a psychologist, it might be different. She was trained, this is who they are, this is what it is, this is what you do, right? So my qualifications coming through her, Kimberly's qualifications are, and every entrepreneur does 4 things. Every entrepreneur is defined by these things, or you're not, through the French meaning to risk your own, an entrepreneur. Number 1, here's an entrepreneur. You add value first. Entrepreneurs build the store and stock it with inventory with their own funding, their own risk, before there's ever a customer buying. Are you with me there? Did you get that? Okay. We do stuff first. First habit of the homeless, here's what they did to me. I went up and said, I was born again in 1985, for the lowest in 1992, can I have $5? The people in that line, you know the first thing they did? They asked for my stuff first. Just the opposite. You can see, only because I had entrepreneur eyes did I see that this might be one of the barriers. You can't work in my store if you're going up to my customers asking them for money without first giving them a product. Right? Probably won't make it in the city of Las Vegas. You'll probably end up in a facility in the city of Las Vegas if you keep asking for someone's stuff without giving something in return. Okay? So that was number 1. Number two, every entrepreneur has to take responsibility, even for stuff they didn't. It's your business. You're the last line of defense. You don't get to walk home at night, walk away from it. You can't even walk away from the IRS after 5 years after closing your business. You're committed. It's more. It's not the 18-year commitment of a child, but it's close, right? So here was the second habit. I asked, I'm saying, you asked me the question, why am I homeless?
Why are you on the side?
Well, that bitch I married, my boss was a jerk. That woman I married, it was always something or someone else. But we call it the blame game, but just think of it opposite being an entrepreneur, right? Because this is not about judgment, because it's so easy to blame, and most of the time it's true. Isn't it true? Most of the time when we give an answer and we attribute the blame, it's true. The problem is, it makes you go broke. The problem is, it makes people not be able to trust you. The problem is, no one's going to give an opportunity to someone who's not taking responsibility. If I make a mistake at work and I keep blaming the people around me, even if it's true, guess who's going to get fired first? Who's watched The Apprentice and watched Trump do exactly that? Right? Well, so-and-so didn't do their job. Well, I can't trust you as a manager. No. You're fired. Where's my hair? Okay? So now here's the third thing. I walked the line. She walked the line and she's saying, so what are you doing here? Why are you here? What do you need? What are you thinking? And as she kept on going up the line to talk to the next people, here's what I did. I went and talked with the other 5 or 6 people in the line about her.
Not yet.
Too late. And so notice this. Who do I learn from and trust? People in the same mess I'm in. I call it learning horizontally. Well, but no, look at the school, the kids who are all dogs. You don't learn dog unless you learn it from a dog. Well, actually, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, they have these fMRIs, functional magnetic resonance imaging machines, where they scan people's brains. And they get to see what you're thinking live action, what parts light up. And so they tested all these teens and youths, and they found out that between the ages of 12 and 22, you only have half a brain. Okay. So anyway, so when kids now come to me, they say, "Yo, what up, dog?" And just get on my knees and say, "What up, puppy?" It's a clue, Luke. So, right? But so they're not really dogs, but you know what I mean, right? But here was this horizontal learning habit, and if you're the business owner, like your business owner, she's learned from the expert in sales. She's listened to audiobooks by supreme authors on this and organizational management stuff. She's studied from this. Do you understand? We only learn vertically from people who know stuff we don't know. Got it? And then number four, entrepreneur. Every entrepreneur doesn't let their beliefs interfere with that of their customers. The entrepreneurs that aren't going to judge your beliefs and condemn you for them. We'll call it respect. Now let's do the flip side, and here's what I found out with, and again, every single one. This wasn't like, okay, here's the only study I took, survey I took where it wasn't 100%. And this is really odd in the whole scientific. Again, 100%. Homeless in Las Vegas were not from Las Vegas. But all but 5 individuals told me they were Christians. Interesting, isn't it? 2 atheists, guy from Australia who I had figured out, he was from America, but lived in Australia. I couldn't figure out what his religion was, or if there was one. Very interesting. All right, so here's the fourth habit. Instead of just finding an expert, listening to her, and doing what she said, they want to tell me a story. You've ever fell on tough times, entered a shelter, or something like that? And I tell you what, we group, habit 3, we group with people in our same condition, we want to tell them a story, we find a common place, and we relate, unfortunately, to homeless people. And then we wonder why we end up doing because they learn. Right? If you go into a business and you started to hear stories from engineers, right? And you started hanging out, good, guess what you probably ended up? Probably engineers. Which would you rather be? You see? So I found these 4 habits, but only because, too, through my eyes, humans become what they learn. And then we've got to guard ourselves because of the second half. We become what we learn, whether we choose who we learn from or not. See, animals, right? Rabbits are going to be rabbits, whether someone teaches them how to be something else or not. Dogs will be dogs, horses will be horses, right? Kittens aren't going to become rabbits. But human beings can, what a dog, they're pigs, sheep, jackass, the movie. Or we can become something uniquely human, something greater than living in groups and packs and trying to gather nuts. A big amen should have gone in there, right? Let's give it up for Kimberly. Thank you so much. All right, so these are like the core templates for our human. Now what we want to do is jump into our formula from the movies, so that when you leave, every time you see a movie, every time you see an entrepreneur, every time you see an opportunity, you'll have a template, it'll light up for you. Right? Just like knowing you've watched a movie, it lights up. So I can just say Shawshank Redemption, get busy living, and you say, get busy dying. Right? It's in there, right? It's in there. So the idea is you're going to be set. The information you need to know is already in you. Just trying to organize it so that it always works for you. Every one of your steps counts. And you don't keep shooting yourself in the foot. Now we're going to talk about jobs in the afternoon, and by way of an example for this, if you need, who needs a better job than the one they already have, or wants a job you haven't got? Great, great, okay, all right. Your first goal then is to achieve this interview, right? An interview for a job. Who's had an interview recently? Well done, congratulations, well done. Now, just think for a minute. I mean, just like if you were a car salesman, the people that come on the lot are going to buy a car. They're there to buy a car. Can you see how stupid it'd be to ask them, are you interested in buying a car? Now, it's a stupid thing to say, but what do the people think of you? Stupid, right? Right? So the trust drops way down on trusting you to be their salesperson. So you got to go in with the knowledge of, hey, they wouldn't have come out here if they weren't wanting to buy a car. I've got to just help them by removing the barriers to their car ownership. Right? So if you guys get an interview for a job, they want to hire you. They don't want to interview another 50 people. You certainly don't want to go apply to another 50 jobs. You don't want to become a professional applicant, right? You know, turn pro at filling out resumes, right? No pay in that, right? So you've got to know that when you get an interview, they want you. They want it to be you. And then you say something. And then they notice you carried a purse that could contain 3 babies and 2 cats. And they start to see all the stuff and risks to their liability come into their place of business. And they start to deduct your value. Until they get to a threshold and they say, that can't be you. So this afternoon, in the very same way, we're going to just be addressing those things. And that's why my 7 steps to getting the job you want takes an hour. Tops. Because all you're doing is knowing what not to say, when to say this, but not to say that. Tell. Okay? Now do you understand? Okay? Yeah. Because again, you can go get an interview, be ready to be ready by this afternoon. All right, good, good. Now, finally, we have to get through the fun movies. Now, lots of movies about animals. Now, this was a book about animals that taught me that animals don't change. They can learn. You can teach dogs stuff. Rabbits, by the way, #1 on the animal scale, dumbest animal on the planet. Don't learn. They're pre-programmed from birth. They know, well, no one has to teach them how to make more rabbits. And #2, they have that darting mechanism to evade predators. Right? They don't run a straight line. They don't run like a high school candidate, right? Stupid creatures. Anyway, horses smarter, dogs smarter, right? So I learned that from the book. Aesop's Fables, though, this was weird, because this was like movies. This was a bridge where we were talking about human behavior, but this guy in 580 BC taught us with animals. Right? Boy Who Cried Wolf, Goose the Golden Egg. Who remembers Hercules and the Wagoneer? This is where we get God only helps those who help themselves. Actually, it came from Aesop's Fables, not the Bible. Even predated Buddha. Right? Who said wisdom is right, the master soldier. Let me keep that dollar from the slack of my focus. So get this. So here's a guy that pushed his donkey too fast with the cart. It went off the road, and it got stuck on this big lump and whatever. And here's what the guy does. He prays to the gods, and Hercules shows up to help him. And guess what Hercules does? Right, Hercules. Right? Yeah, he could just knock that. But no, instead he says, okay, put your shoulder here. He becomes a mentor and expert and shows the farmer how to get his own cart out of the rut. Right? Because there are some things, right, that need divine intervention. Right? But faith without works, without our own corresponding action, is dead. It's still a formula, right? We get that from, obviously, Aesop and his figures. We also have Where the Wild Things Are, so there are lots of movies now about wild things. So here's the speed round on animal movies and what we've learned. We've learned from ogres and donkeys. Right? We've learned from rats and pandas. We've learned from dragons and lions. It is the circle of life, Simba. But Daddy, don't we eat the antelope? Yes, Simba. Yummy. But when we die, we become the grass, the antelope eat the grass. We're all connected to the great circle of life. We can learn from slum dogs and alpha dogs, wolves, and cougars. Now, I'm not proud to... Anyway, so these are not the movies we're going to study today. We are going to study super movies. Okay? Super movies. Now, super is different because they have to follow the secondary formula. The one I believe is the formula for human change, for taking half an engineer and completing you to becoming someone who magnetically attracts all things engineering. Got it? These are different because, well, we have Wonder Woman, we've got some other examples throughout literature, but the first Superman comic, there's actually one right now on eBay in a 9 out of 10 in its condition. Some guy bought it in the 30s, 1938. Guy put it in a trunk. I guess one of his grandson or something has just opened it. It's a 9 out of 10. The eBay, when I looked at it 3 days ago, it was up to $1.6 million. Don't you wish you saved that 10-cent comic book?
Right.
Well, why would someone pay $1.6 million for a comic book? Unless it spoke to them the same way we'd spend $10 to watch The Dark Knight. I mean, thank God we have $10 movies now. We don't have to spend $1.6 million to get our heart fixed, right? All right. So Nietzsche though is 1881, and he writes this. I'm going to draw this map on the board, and then give you a formula. And then what we're going to do is our special agents are going to bring you a goal sheet to start establishing a goal. And once you get that filled out, you'll be prepared for this afternoon to start actually writing your next screenplay, your next movie, so that every day you can take a step that gets you exactly where you want to be, not just ending up repeating history. That sound good? So I'm going to give you this visual map of what Nietzsche called Superman. Who's ever heard of Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche? Anybody? I hadn't, but when we got the first 10,000 homeless off the streets, and then I found the same 4 habits in 7th graders at a certain junior high, I said, oh my God, we're in danger in this country. That was 1998. So I started studying every possible philosopher, every psychology I could, and trying to find these roots. And as soon as I read Nietzsche, I found this map, and I said, man, this is fantastic. And then I brought it up to my Christian friends, and they said, Nietzsche's like the Antichrist. And so I found out that Christians are what you didn't like Nietzsche for whatever reason, because, well, the reason was he said God is dead. I guess that made you angry, wouldn't it, if you believe in God? Yeah. But keep in mind, he was a rebellious teenager who was super bright, who was the youngest professor of psychology at his German university, raised by Christian parents, also a pastor in the ministry, a little rebellion boy. Okay. So, but what he meant was the typical stuff we do in religion has left out the power. Like Angela said, they recovered. Right? So hence God is dead, right? Because no one's doing that anymore. We're just praising Him, saying amen, and agreeing, and nothing changed. Here's what he wrote. 1881, he writes this. He says, man is a rope fastened between animal and a Superman. Then he says this. He says, it's a rope over an abyss. So I like to draw like the Grand Canyon, right? 2 miles down here. Let's see, we have Colorado River down here. It's kind of green, right? We got whitewater rafters here. We got Thelma and Louise's car right here. Right? Joe Dirt, we saw that film. I love a man who can rock a mullet. Okay, good. All right. He says, man is a rope fastened between animal and Superman, a rope over an abyss, like a tightrope over the Grand Canyon. Who wishes their parents said, son, I know you're 5, but guess what life's going to be? A tightrope over the Grand Canyon. Good luck. But as we get older, we find out that's exactly what it is. I only did this. And what do? You take a few steps out. Maybe we're 18. We're trying to get across. We take these steps. And then we might meet the manager from hell, right? The friend that stabs us in the back, right? We get to that one thing, and then what do? Our reaction, we forget that we're not on a superhighway. We're on a tightrope. So what happens is we, you missed the water by that much. But you guys, we're some of the toughest people, aren't we? Right? Lesser people would be way dead by now. Be dead 50 times the stuff you've been through. So what do? We courageously get back up. Maybe we're inspired by something. So we take our steps up out of the ravine, out of the abyss, past the wreckage of Thelma Louise's car, and we always start back out on the animal side. Someone's going to take care of us, feed us, clothe us, help us with our next opportunity. But our goal as a human is we want to be free. We want to be free to live the lives we were meant for. So we go back running out again, out across the tightrope, because we didn't take time to realize it's still a tightrope. And we get into the next relationship, or we get into that next job, and the same thing happens. Why does the same thing happen? Because we keep bringing the same character in each new movie. So we obviously do the same thing. It's like expecting Happy Gilmore to survive Star Wars, right? Or Clerk in Present Danger. Hmm. 50 Cent actually calls that, he's got a song for it. Right, what if this is just the road from here to LA, right? It's supposed to take 4 hours. But if you're a human being called a man and you're driving this, you see the sign at Baker, the big thermometer, but the little sign says Gateway to Death Valley, and if you're an idiot, you'll go find out what's there. Your goal was LA. Where your job was, where your education was, where your promotion was, and we get distracted. Yeah. I've seen me do it. Okay, so we go off down here in Death Valley, and if you've ever been there, you theoretically are closer to LA, but there's no road to get there from there. So then we argue over people's spiritual ideas. You say, well, there are many paths to God. There's only one path to God. Well, look. So I land in Orlando. I got to get to Orlando, which is really 3 toll roads. I got this road. I got this road. But you know what? If I take the wrong road, one time it happened at night, I get off by this lake that has no name. Voldemort's house. Sure enough, there's only one way back. And that's where both are true. I hope you haven't gotten so far off on one road that there's only one way back. If there is, take it. Take the one way back, go back the way you came. It may suck for a while, but soon you'll get back on this highway, and then whatever you do, don't talk back to your bosses or your experts or your teachers. Learn everything vertically instead of horizontally. Take responsibility for stuff you didn't do. Right? Just say the most something I could have done, I apologize. Just let it go. And then instead of beg, find out something you can do first. Right? You might not have worked in a while, so you have to ramp up to your abilities. Volunteer. Get good before someone feels bad about paying you. Until you get so good that that person becomes your John the Baptist and recommends you to one of the big-wig donors for that job. Make sense to you? Okay, so here's this map. Understand the goal is not just your destination of where you're going to be, but who you are when you make it across this bridge. And then lastly, as we talk about goals, when I said when you're a human being, the goal of school or education is what? Remember? Change. It's change. We're not asking you to change your DNA, but in that case, we now know that it's true. That not only do we have the power to change our DNA, we have the power to change animals' DNA. They went back, I go through all this research, and I found this study where the finches on the Galapagos Islands have retreated back. They proved evolution, if you will, false by going the other direction. And their beaks have retreated because of the influence of now human beings, tourists, who've come to the island. Pretty odd, isn't it? We are the change agents. So whatever we do, the goal is change. If you move from Atlanta and they close down the Coca-Cola bottling plant because people are buying more water, and now you got to go get a job at Aquafina, right? You got to just change from Coke Man. That didn't sound good. But still, okay, right? Okay, right? Into Waterman. Yes, away. Okay, so here's the goal. So on my equation, here's the formula for you. The goal is change. Now, when I say change, that doesn't mean change cities. That means change the character you bring into that city, that job, that relationship. Pick what you want, what kind of career or job it is, even owning a business, and become the person that makes that movie work. How do we get there? We start out every one of these chapters like a new movie. You have to act like a student again. I put an S down there. You have to act like a student. Students give answers. They'd rather ask questions instead of give answers. This is not the time to share what you know. Maybe you'll do that a little later. But this is the time where you find every expert you can and you ask them a question. What should I do here? What do you think about this? I was considering opening a restaurant at this corner. What do you know about the traffic? What do you know about the population of the neighborhood? Right? Oh, I'm going to need to be really good at Google Docs. Okay, I'm going to sign up today, this afternoon for Larson training and get that scholarship and go learn that stuff now. Got it? So this is where you act like a student. So which just means when the student is ready, a master shall appear. They don't let you teach engineering just for the bachelor's in engineering. You must get at least a master's degree, like the martial arts, where you must master it, right? So, student to the master that corresponds to the change. And then the next part, really the last part, are the exercises. Watch this, watch. You just have to act like a student again, to an expert or experts, and then do whatever they say, the exercises, for some period of time. Might be a month, might be 6 months, might be 2 years. How much time you got? I don't know what you're going to be doing in that time if you don't become what you want. But before you fill out your goal sheet, borrow your tape right here. Something we talked about what truths are versus facts, and I just want to give you just one idea, some truth I got from my PE coach, or football coach in high school. Now, my PE coach in junior high said, Tiger, if you want to be a champion, you have to run faster and work out harder. Is that true?
Yeah.
Right? You can't, I mean, you're not going to be an athlete trying to get out and do an exercise, right? And I guess I was lazy or wouldn't go. Here's my problem. Coach Coons, Del Robinson Junior High. Coach Coons was 420 pounds. Look at the emotional reaction that you just got from that, that statement. I'm a 7th grader, which means I have half a brain, no prefrontal cortex, corpus callosum not grown yet, tear cingulate not functioning. Might have some, might have some other parts that's working only because my dad was an entrepreneur, but when a 420-pound PE teacher tells me to run faster and work out harder, right? When Jabba the Hutt or Fat Bastard tells you to run fast and work out harder, it's the last thing you want to do. Right? In fact, here's where our kryptonite comes up when we're teens. We want to not do, but somehow get back to that. But then I ask you, you're a 7th grader, and you want to be a champion. This is what we do. Same is true when it's not your fault, take the blame. History, where you got this Jesus dude on a cross that takes the blame for stuff he didn't do. You can't get Christians blame. Because in Numbers 14, took the blame for 10 of the spies who went in. And Moses said, no, don't kill them all. Let's give them a chance. Took the blame for stuff he see your, and the other human truth is that you should shorter than the other, hopefully in forums like Popeye, walk like this and stand one leg shorter than the other. But he said, so against my tendency to try to get out of doing homework, exercises, doing more, that had to inspire me, if you will, to do more. If I want to do more push-ups every day, right? What happens? Right? You can do more, right? You do more push-ups every day. You can do more push-ups every day, right? It's how we are. The greater demand we make on ourselves, the more of ourselves come out. The more of our human comes out. Don't you wish your girlfriend was out like me? That's so all right. So now, I got it from my mom. Okay, no. So here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to pass out a goals worksheet. Where is it? Who is it? Who has it? Here they come. Let's welcome the special agents for our goals. And then I'm going to work with you quickly to help you write down some real tangible goals. The good news is the worksheet will help you do it. And hopefully it's written to help you stay on track with it. We're going to give you just a minute to do that. Oh, and I'm very excited this afternoon. We've got raffle items. We've got bus passes. I bought a phone and some minutes I ordered the absolute coolest wheeled duffel bag from Samsonite. Oh, I mean, really. Okay. So we've got all kinds of stuff there. I have to first keep a promise, though. This man here gave me his word that he'd come today, and you did. So I went and shopped for a shirt for you, fresh, on your size. Well done, you did it. Thank you. Now, where are we? Got our sheets?
No.
Do I have one? Well, I know it's not how you use. Thank you, guys. This row here needs some. Thank you. And I need one. Thank you. And when you all have one, all right, before we start, who's feeling stinky? I've got about 20 of these. Who wants an underarm deodorant? Feeling stinky. See, look, you're already embracing your change. Right on. First part is being honest with your stinks. Yeah, you got it. That's right. You know this. You know this. It's strong enough for a man to pay for it. No, but look at this. Look. Here's what happens when we get older. When we get older, if you're like me, here's what we do. We tend to not want to try something new that shows what we can't do well. We're embarrassed to do it. And so I'm so proud that you're willing to at least help me be your teacher here, where it's okay to be embarrassed for a little bit in order to learn something great. So anyway, I'd applaud you for throwing this stuff out. No. Yes. 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 Who's over here? Yes. And you. And you. And you. Well, I'm going to say one for me, because at this rate, I'm going to need some of you. I'm sorry. It might not be such a good idea to label somebody else. Okay. Sweet pea and violets. All right, anybody else? Got a couple more? Yep. All right, great. All right, so here we are on the sheet. Ready? Take a look at your sheet. Keep your eyes on me. How can you vote? Okay, here we go. It says you can succeed by applying what you've learned. Start with these words. Say it out loud. I will succeed. So all together, I will succeed. One more time. Say it like a cult. I will succeed. That's creeping a little flavor up there. All right, good. All right, now you're going to write your next goal. Now be thinking, a want. Next goal. What's the next most important thing that would alter what you're doing, alter your life? Okay? Whatever it is. Okay? But when you write it down, you'll get more specific as time goes on. But think about what that is. Right? You might even just say earned income, stable job at home. Whatever it is, just fill it out there. Okay? Take a minute for that. Take a minute. Should I play the Jeopardy music here? Any additional pens in the house? Pens, anybody? Great. Throw it at me. It won't hurt. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Additional pen. Oh, so we're doing long pens. Okay, great. All right, so you've written down the goal. Now I'm just going to take you through it, okay? Because you can embellish this as you go on through the day. But look at this quote, if it isn't true, especially based on what I learned from both coaches. The successful person has the habit of doing the things that failures don't want to do. And think about that. It's almost an axiom in the universe that if you don't do what you don't want, you won't become successful. So this is a way to reprogram your feelings so that they don't get in the way of you accomplishing what you really want. Now we can get all philosophical and start to think about, how will it feel when you accomplish that job, and that'll feel great, right? But for this, just think about what if the goal you set means you have to get up an hour earlier, you got to go for a walk to clear your head, you've got to do things a little differently, learn one more thing. But when you get up, you're not going to want to get up that hour earlier. But success comes from doing what you don't want. So it's perfect. So now I programmed myself for this. I put a sign right next to my bed. This very sign written to me. I said, so Tiger, the very things you don't want to do are the very things you must do first in order to succeed. So now, when I don't want to do something, I'm already now programmed to just do whatever I want. Sweet. One less thing. I said, Forrest Gump home. Okay. So, read this message to yourself. Notice there's a place for your name. So write your name in here in the middle where it says so. That's where your name goes. You can just put your first name. You don't do first and last unless you talk to yourself in the mirror and first and last. Yes, Mr. Bond. No, just put your first name there. Okay. And now I want you to, okay, so everyone got their name in that spot? Good, 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 good. Anyone have trouble spelling their name? We have a class. Good, good, good. All right, so here it is. We're going to read this whole thing together, and it's going to be fun when we all say our names individually at the same time. All right? Doves may cry, but it's going to be okay. So are you ready? We're going to read it together, starting with so. On the count of three, we're going to start with so. So, Tiger, the things you don't want to do are the very things that you must do first in order to succeed. Okay, now you just got to believe it, right? Okay, and by the way, notice the genius of this. This is you telling me what to do. This isn't me being the boss of you. This isn't anyone else doing it. It's you. Your goals, your destination. You don't have to show this to anybody. This is so that you keep yourself on track, because you have that dogged tendency to either be human or animal on that tightrope. So now you believe it. So here, notice at the bottom, now you can start breaking down some goals throughout the day. What are some of the steps to help you accomplish that? For example, I will accomplish my goal because I'm making a habit of doing the things I know I must do first. And now you're going to list some of the things I need to do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get up an hour early. I'm going to do 20 push-ups every morning. Right? Start listing some of the things differently every day that this guy has already filled out. Fantastic, well done. Do you see where we're headed here? So the one big thing might take 5 little things. These are the 5 little things that will make the difference that add up to your getting closer to that. So today, here's what we have for this afternoon. I'm excited about our raffle always at the end of the day, but we're going to talk about money and relationships, and I'm going to give you this new definition for money. This is all after lunch, provided by Strip and Dip, best chicken strips in town. You might have a choice between vegetables with your chicken and or the best mac and cheese in town, but you're going to have to fight for it. Let's see what else. We're going to give you, before you leave now, another form, which is a what are your clothing sizes? Because you might say, well, I can't get the job in these clothes. I just got an interview, but I need some slacks, some khakis, and a nice shirt. We have all of that. You can request, but you've got to fill out the form completely and legibly so that we can go get it to the people that run the suit center and get your clothes picked out. Got it? Okay. So you'll get that. You'll have time to fill it out after lunch, but we're going to leave you with it so when you come back in here after you eat, you're able to work on it before we start. Got it? Okay. Okay. And right now, I just want to give it up for you guys right now because I had a great morning with you. Now I'm going to welcome Kevin and LaQuan back to the front here. Well, you know, Kevin doesn't know what he's doing, so I'm going to welcome Ed because Ed has something he'd really like to share with you. Well, it's actually something I'd like for him to share. Please, David is being right now for Thank you, Ed. Do we have a light candy for him?
Absolutely.
Very soft.
Absolutely.
Oh, I like that. Thank you so much.
Give him a round of applause.
I'm not even going to try to compete with Tiger's energy, but I just want to follow up on one thing he said, and I'm going to introduce someone who has something, a very exciting opportunity for all of you. And so Tiger was just saying successful people do what? Successful people do what? What? Right. The successful people do things that unsuccessful people don't do. And one of the things that successful people do is they invest in themselves. In fact, I can tell you the most important investment you can make is in yourself. When you earn something, what happens when you earn it? You own it, right? And it becomes more valuable to you. Your education, and education is something that is extremely important. I would tell you, is probably the most important thing you can have, because that's one thing nobody can take away. They can take away your freedom, they can take away your stuff, but people can't take away your education. And I am proud to announce that the school that I work for, which is Larson Training Centers outside the door in the back, has given 10 scholarships to Hero School for anybody here, or up to 10 people here, can start school. And this is a 16-week program. It is immersive, it is intensive, but it's worth it. And I would encourage anybody, and how many people here go to Larson? Oh, wow. Okay. Is it immersive? Is it challenging? So I encourage anybody who cares about going from where you are now to where you want to be, all of the stuff that Tiger's talking about, to follow that up and get an education. That's one thing that can't get taken away. Now, a second thing, on the basis that if you earn it, own it, has more value, everybody who is gainfully employed out there needs to have financial stability and financial security and financial responsibility. So we have been able to I'm going to introduce Dino here in a second, that's going to talk about an important tool for you to get on the road of financial responsibility, and that is a debit card, bank account, and things like that. But it's a thing you have to earn. It doesn't have value if it's given to you, right? It's a thing that you have to earn. But one of the challenges is how do you go from here to there? Well, it starts with Hero School. Hero School is, getting to understand that you can change. The past is not the future. The second thing is Larson Training Centers is the most important thing you can do is invest in yourself. And the best investment in yourself is an education. Then, but to be successful in life, you have to be financially responsible. And so, Dino, how about coming over here? I know that everybody is hungry and you're ready to have lunch, but if you can just indulge for a couple more minutes where Dino can talk about the next step, which is financial responsibility, and how he has a tool or a couple tools to help people get there. And we only have 3 minutes? 2?
You can do 2.
Ain't that 2?
Yes. Okay. I don't like microphones that much. What it is that most employers in the Valley require direct deposit to be actually gainfully employed. You cannot actually have them be employed there until you actually have a bank account. But what has some of the employers that we were on the contract in the city of Las Vegas, they actually issue a debit card out there in the marketplace, for the employment to receive direct deposit on the card itself. Now, these cards will be available at the Larson School when you're with an employer, you say, do you have a bank account? Yes, we do. And then you say, not the Larson School, you'll be able to pick up your debit card, give it to your employer, and then have the ability to sit here and say, I have a debit card. I have the program. It will be issued by MasterCard, the card itself. The card will be able to receive all direct deposit from Social Security, tax refunds, as well as your regular wages to your employer. The significance of the card itself is that you say, well, people always focus on what's going to cost me. Well, all point of sale is at no cost. So you're able to draw all your up to $3,500 a day at point of sale. So if you go to Smith's, Smith's offers you to have $300 cash back at point of sale. You ever pay the rent, you ever pay Cox, you know, when you start getting stable, you get Cox, you get your cellular phones and that level there, you're able to sort of just call them instead of going out here and trying to get money orders to pay your bills, which I see people say is shaking their heads. It's a challenge. I mean, you go to Smith's on a Friday and there's a bunch of people standing in line to pay their bills. Well, it's a lot of time wasted to actually stand in lines paying your bills and trying to get money orders, even from the post office. So with this card itself, this is a temporary card. These cards are being designed, will be out in 2 weeks, but these cards itself will be actually available at the Larson School. The other thing we look at is we just launched with AT&T on a national basis because of the size of loading those cardholders in the United States, that AT&T allowed us to receive a 14% discount off their prices if you go to a retail AT&T store. So you're not here to promote AT&T. For those people that are going to get a cellular phone, some of them are prepaid, some of them are not. But what you're looking at is this: that if the prepaid cellular phone service was $100 a month or $50 a month for that program, unlimited $50, by using the Larson School's number at the AT&T corporate store, that $50 is 14% discount automatic. If we negotiated, we launched it with roughly 5 corporations this week, and it's worked out real well. You'll be able to go to the Larson's website, and you'll be able to sit there and actually sign up at the Larson website for the AT&T services. So we're promoting the Larson School. It's very important to the community, and we just want to make your life just a little bit easier. We want to make you feel proud that you have the MasterCard branded card, and then we also have the ability to take a look at doing different scholarship programs that will be discussed with Larson School in the next 2 weeks. I'd like to thank you for your
time. Let's turn this around. We're going to go over a little bit of things here. We're going to bring. Is lunch here, guys? Is lunch here? Okay, so what you guys want to do in an orderly fashion? Get up. We're going to give you tickets to your lunch.
Why are you smiling?
Okay.
Going on the website?
The AT&T website. Does Larson have a website? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it just plugs right in there. You just put a tab that says benefits, bring it down, and then what you do is you just press on that and it redirects you right to the AT&T website that's built for your school. You have to build it. It's already built for you.
No, I get it.
I'm interested in teaching, either free or whatever you'd like. I can teach computers, I'm retired. And I have a California credential in accounting. But how far did your education go? I have a bachelor's. Okay, good. Well, and I have the credential from California because of accounting, so I got it. Los Angeles. I graduated. I graduated from Georgia State. Anyway, that's my scenario. And she has. Okay. Well, okay. I don't know if you ever need anybody. I'm ready. We are going to. Oh wow. So you report. Yeah. So we're moving from there to here. And we'll have groups of 30 computers. I can provide you the instructional materials to it for free. It's open. I know QuickBooks. I'd have to create some materials for QuickBooks. Okay. Well, no, I could create the.
Well, they have a great program.
Oh, okay.
The problem is the instructor needs to know the program.
It would take me a week to review all QuickBooks, but I was an audit manager of accounting inside now. I just haven't touched QuickBooks for a year.
Okay.
So but that wouldn't take any time.
That would be fantastic.
Let me do this. Let me give you my contact information. Go ahead. If you have something to give her.
Oh, no, I just had a question. How do I go about getting into the Larson? They told me to come talk to you guys.
Okay. So we'll go down to the trailer. And she will tell you what you need.
Okay.
Where do you live now?
I live on Balzar and Revere.
Okay, so are you in a place like Salvation Army?
No, I live with my best friend right now.
Okay, good. So you're able to.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it's not like you won't get it.
Yeah, no, I have, like, the only thing that's stopping me, and that's why I really came today, is I don't have ID. All I have is the Salvation Army, the homeless ID. That's what's really stopping me from doing anything.